going on, everyone? Back with some more football content. Now, so if you guys have been following me for quite the past year or so, you guys saw that I made a video last season predicting the NFC and the AFC division winners, and that's what I'm going to be doing for this video. But I'm going to be making two separate videos, one for the NFC and one for the AFC, and this video will be the NFC predictions. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and let's just get right to it. So first division, the NFC East, and this division will most likely be the hardest out of all of them for the NFC next season, or the toughest division. But I got the Eagles repeating the division. I do have them having a couple less amount of wins that they had last year because their schedule is a little bit tougher than what it was last year. And I still feel like the Eagles got something to prove a little bit. I feel like they kind of got away with some things in the playoffs, and they're coming off a Super Bowl loss. So I feel like that they still have something to prove. But Jalen Hurts proved that he is the franchise quarterback, and this season I feel like he's going to get it done again, win the division, and go on to get home field advantage in the playoffs again. So I got the Eagles winning the division. Giants, I got them getting second place with a tiebreaker with Philadelphia. And I have the Giants at second. Now, the Giants could be one of two things. They can be the team that was a one-year wonder and just go back to what they were before last season, or they could prove everyone wrong. Saquon's under a franchise tag, which is why I feel like he's going to have a breakout year to prove to everyone why he deserves an extension with his team. Daniel Jones, they kind of, for the quarterback market, the Giants kind of got lucky paying him. They didn't really pay him that much. So now that they got that stuff out of the way, Brian Dable really proved that he was a really good coach. He's going to be running it back with them. I have the Giants making the playoffs again as a fifth-seeded team. So I do have the Eagles with the tiebreaker over them. That's how I have them winning the division. But I do have the Giants going back to the playoffs as a wild card team with the fifth-seeded spot. Third place, I got the Cowboys. And now the Cowboys, they could, to be honest, I don't really see how they really improved, like roster-wise. I don't really see, like, they got rid of Zeke. Tony Pollard's under a franchise tag, so I could see him having a breakout year as well. But the thing that really concerns me with the Cowboys is two things. It's Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy. McCarthy, I don't really get. I'm kind of surprised that he still really has a job there, to be honest. Now, I get he's taken them to the playoffs a few times and this and that, but they haven't really gotten it done. And Dak Prescott, he concerns me a lot. I mean, didn't he miss like 5 or 6 games last year, and he still had 15 interceptions or something like that? So the thing that concerns me with the Cowboys is how is Dak going to respond to the year that he had last year? That's why I have them going 10-7. I still have them making the playoffs, but we'll see what happens with them. And last place, I got Washington. Now, the reason why I have him being tremendously bad next season is because Sam Howell, he's an unproven quarterback. We don't really know what he's going to bring to the table for them. They did just bring in Eric Bieniemy as coordinator, so we'll see what happens with their offense. But this is my prediction for the NFC East. Let me know what you guys think. Now, the next division is the NFC North. Now, this division, honestly, I could see a way where any of the teams win the division. And I'm just going to go through each team. So I do have Detroit winning the division. Now, I know a lot of people don't expect them to do what they did last year. People think it was just a one-year deal for them. They're going to go right back to what they were prior to that. But they did pick up Gardner Johnson in free agency. They picked up David Montgomery as well. They did lose DeAndre Swift, but I don't really think that's going to be that big of a loss. They also lost Jamal Williams, who had a breakout year last year, so that was a big loss for them. But with David Montgomery taking over as running back one, I feel like, it's not really that big of a loss for them. Now, they did lose, I think it was Jameson Williams who got suspended. So I could see the Lions having a slow start like they did last year. But I do have them winning the division at 10-7. Minnesota, I have them at 9-8. And the reason for that is because of their defense. Now, I think that they'll have a really great offense. They did lose Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen, but they did draft Jordan Addison, who could be a really good dual threat with Justin Jefferson as the 1 and 2 receivers. Kirk Cousins, I don't really feel like he deserves 100% of the hate that he's getting. I know he did fall off short in the playoffs to a 6-seeded Giants team, but their offense, I feel like could still win them games. I do have them at 9-8, and this is actually my seventh seed prediction. So I think the Vikings are going to get the seventh seed. So I have them finishing second. At third place, the Chicago Bears. Now the Bears had a really good offseason. They were able to get DJ Moore, Tremaine Edmonds. They brought in a running back, and they brought Robert Tonyan as well. So they were able to build somewhat of a good offensive line around Justin Fields as well, and an offensive unit. But and their secondary on defense is looking very young and promising. But the reason why I have them barely below 500 and missing the playoffs is because we don't know how Justin Fields is going to develop. Now, he had a touchdown interception ratio of, I think, 17-10 last year. So, and I get he didn't have an offensive line, but he has the offensive weapons around him now. I feel like Chase Claypool can still develop pretty well in their offensive scheme. But we'll see what their coach is like too. I know it was only his first year last year, but they came off as the worst team in football last year. So that's why I have them coming up short of making the playoffs and going 8-9. And last place, the Green Bay Packers. Now, this team could be what I'm predicting, but they could also be the team that has the type of year that Seattle had and just go off and make the playoffs somehow. But we don't know what Jordan Love is going to turn into. For all we know, he could be what Aaron Rodgers was before he took over, or he could just be the quarterback we expect him to be, which is not really that good. So I do have him finishing last this year at 7-10. So let me know what you think about my predictions for the NFC North. Next division, and this was probably the easiest division to predict, the NFC West. Now, the first place was easy to predict, the 49ers. I mean, they're just the biggest powerhouse team in the NFC, at least in my opinion. Now, we don't know who's going to be starting at quarterback week 1, but I feel like whether it's Trey Lance or Brock Purdy, they have the offense built around them that could help them succeed, especially with the backfield of McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell. The only thing that concerns me with the Niners is their health, because the past few years, the Niners, they've been dealing with injuries left and right, maybe even longer than that. But with Shanahan continuing to coach the team very well, they brought in Steve Wilkes for the defensive coordinator. I just feel like they're going to be the same team that they were last year, go 13-4, win the division. And this is actually my first seed prediction, too. I have the Niners getting the first round bye next season, so let me know what you think about that. Second place, Seattle Seahawks. Now, the Seahawks have a well-built offense and defense. They brought in JSN as well. They drafted him. A really, really good offense, but the reason why I have them having the same record as last year is because I don't know how Geno Smith is going to respond. Now, he had a really good year last season, but I just don't see him repeating the same stats that he had last year. And I do have him barely missing the playoffs because I have the Vikings having the tiebreaker with Seattle. So that's how I predicted it. I have Seattle barely missing the playoffs at 9-8. Third place, the Cardinals. Now, 6 wins may be a little bit too much that I'm predicting for my team, but obviously Kyler's going to be missing majority of the season. He's not really going to be, back. And from what I've been hearing, his rehab is going very well, though. So maybe he could come back a little bit earlier than we expect. But even with Kyler Murray, I just don't really see how we can go above 500 or even close to being 500. We have a first-year head coach, so we don't know how he's going to be. And our defensive line, that's what concerns me the most. I don't feel like we're going to be able to stop the run game a lot, which has been our struggles for the past couple of years or so. So I have the Cardinals going 6-11, finishing third place in the division. And last place, I have the Rams. Now, I don't really see how the Rams improved at all. Now, I get Cooper Kupp was injured for a majority of the year last season, which is a big reason why they had the record that they had. Same with Stafford and this and that. But they got rid of Jalen Ramsey. They got rid of Bobby Wagner. I mean, they let Sebastian Joseph Day go. How do the Rams really improve? Like, who do they get in free agency? Because as far as I know, they didn't really get anybody. In the draft, they got Stetson Bennett. I mean, who's going to be your starting quarterback? Are you going to trust Stafford? Because the Rams, it came out that they tried to get rid of Stafford in the offseason. So do the Rams even trust Stafford? I mean, where are they at right now? So I just don't see them winning more than 4 games this season. I have them going 4-13 and potentially being the worst team in the NFL, tanking for Caleb Williams. So we'll see what happens there. But let me know what you guys think about my NFC West prediction. And the last division in the NFC is the NFC South. Now, this was by far the hardest division for me to predict. I feel like any one of these teams could win the division, but I'm picking the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know how Bijan Robinson is going to be. I feel like Atlanta drafted him a little bit too high, but we'll see how he does. Um, Desmond Ridder, we'll see what kind of second year he has. I just feel like Atlanta's the more well-built team, best of the worst team, I should say, to win this division. So I have them going 8-9 and winning the division and getting that 4th seed spot. Second place, I got the Saints at 8-9. Now, in the past, Atlanta has lost a lot to New Orleans, but I feel like it's going to be the turnaround year where Atlanta beats the Saints and gets the tiebreaker to win the division. So I got the Saints going 8-9. I don't really know how Derek Carr is going to be. I'm not really the biggest Derek Carr supporter. I just don't really see him doing that well unless he proves me wrong. So I have the Saints going 8-9 and barely missing the playoffs. Third place, I got Carolina at 6-11. Now, Bryce Young's rookie year, they brought in Adam Thielen, Miles Sanders. They brought in a couple guys that are going to help out Bryce Young's development. But I just feel like this is a developmental year for Carolina. Frank Wright, it's his first year coaching the team. So I feel like Carolina's going to be a great team in the future. But for this year, I feel like Carolina, they're not going to be they're going to be a bad team, I think, but they're going to look good. Kind of like how Cam Newton looked in his rookie year. They're going to be a team that looks good for the future. But for this year, I have them going 6-11 and missing the playoffs. And last place, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, like I said, any one of these teams could honestly win the division. But I have Tampa Bay finishing last at 5-12. And the reason for that is because I do not trust Baker Mayfield. That's a big reason. I feel like Tampa Bay's defense is underrated. But as far as their offense goes, I mean, Baker Mayfield has the weapons, but I just don't really see how he plays I mean, I could see him playing good with the receiving core that he has, but as far as I know, Baker Mayfield, I just don't trust him. And we don't even know if Kyle Trask is out playing him in training camp right now, because I've been hearing that that's been going left and right. But I have the Buccaneers going 5-12 and finishing last place in the division. So those are my division winner predictions. Let me know what you guys think on my predictions, and give me your guys' predictions in the chat while you're in the comments while you're at it. Let me know what you guys think. But with that being said, guys, thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next one, and I'm going.